News.
Good morning.
Now, first talk to me about why the change of heart from the minister to give these pupils a chance.
Well, the regulations, in fact, do allow us to give an opportunity to those that are under investigation to sit for supplementary examinations. So what we did in this particular case, because it's the first time that we have had a case like this where a large number of learners are implicated in copying. So we had to take some new decisions that had not been taken before. And we therefore had to make this arrangement to say that all of them must write, not some, but all of them must sit for the supplementary examinations pending the formal hearings.
Is there then maybe a suggestion that not all of them are guilty of this crime?
Yes, but also remember the investigation is still underway. So some of them will not be found guilty. So we need to ensure that those that are innocent are given their results and are free to proceed with their plans. And those that are guilty will then have to nullify their results and impose the necessary punishments.
How many schools are we talking that were cleared from the cheating scandal? Because I do know that the investigation is still going, but how many were cleared?
Initially we had 58. Now we left with 20 plus 14. So it's about 34 that remain, 20 being in KZN and 14 in the Eastern Cape. And we have about 2,800 learners that are involved in this, and some 30-odd principals and school teachers who were invigilators that are involved.
Now we talk about the innocent learners in this particular case, which would be affected by this matter. If they are found to be not guilty, right? Because that episode will definitely delay their progress in terms of education or even work opportunity, that sort of thing. Are you, as the Department of Education, willing to assist these learners, making sure that they finalize their either placement in higher education facilities or institutes or job opportunities? Yeah,
well, we're working with the Department of Higher Education and Training on this particular one. But again, remember that we did two legs of investigations. The first one, we obtained evidence from documents that includes answer sheets and other relevant documents. And the second phase of that investigation was the hearings, interviews that we had with these implicated people. So we have some evidence that indicates that some malpractice did take place, only that we might not have sufficient evidence to find people guilty. But the inconvenience is regretted. But we also had to do a thorough job of going through each and every script to ensure that all those that are guilty are indeed guilty based on strong evidence. Those that are innocent, well, maybe not really innocent, maybe not guilty is the correct word, because there's evidence indicating that something wrong did happen.
Now, what have you been able to gather from the investigation thus far?
Well, we've established that in some centers there was assistance offered, because you can see that some learners in some places were given answers by form of dictation, because they all made the same mistake when it comes to spelling errors, although the words were in the answer in the question paper, which then means that they were not looking at the question paper for the correct spelling of the word, but they were listening to it from someone who was giving it to them, and in that process they got it wrong. But you also have a situation where some of them had deleted the initial answer, put in a new one, and in that case the new answer is incorrect, the initial one was correct. So we're also dealing with a situation where they were assisted with answers, but the answers that they got put them in a disadvantage because they were wrong. So it's those type of things. And in some other cases, you know, we are being told that they were meant to sit around the table and answers were given to them. In some other centers, copies were made of the answer sheets and distributed around. But also the funny thing is that it's not in all the questions and in all the subjects. It's only in selected questions of particular subjects. So that's what we find bizarre. So there's a proviso that they need to come clean before they can start writing. And how do you know that they're going to come clean? Well, we want them to write and continue with the investigation, but we are encouraging those that are willing to confess to make it easy for themselves and for us, so that we can cut this whole process very short. We already have received some confessions from some people, so we know what happened. It's just that now we are really going into individual cases to find out exactly if there's strong evidence to find individuals guilty. Now, there's been reports that the department will give full indemnity to some of the teachers who assisted Matric learners in the group copying if they tell the truth as well.
Can you elaborate on that?
No, that isn't correct. That's
Is that incorrect?
Misreporting, and I don't know what else to call that, but that's completely false. What we said was that people should work with us. In any system where justice is supposed to be served, people are offered an opportunity to plead guilty. That's what we're saying. If you want to plead guilty, you make it easy. See, the thing is, government has the resources to go on this protracted period. But we know that individuals are already suffering, they're already stressed by now. So we are saying, if you make it easy, give us the information that we need, we'll then see how we work with you. But people are still going to be punished, and there's no two ways about that.
What could be the sanction if they are found guilty, these teachers, that is, and if they do come clean?
Well, you know, it will depend on the nature of the offense, because in one case you find an invigilator who was negligent, who didn't do their work, and copying took place. In another case, you find an invigilator who assisted actively the learners in giving them answers. So the extent of the involvement will determine the punishment that will be meted out to them. But dismissal is one, and maybe a final written warning is another, depending on exactly what it is they've done.
Now, this was a learning curve for the department. What future plans have you got in place to make sure that this does not transpire again?
In fact, we are working on a whole range of new changes that we are going to implement. But one that I can talk about is that will increase more people. For example, in the supplementary examinations, the schools that are involved in the mass copying, they are not administering the supplementary examinations. We are taking that over. But we are going to profile the schools that were involved this time and make sure that we take over the administration of the examinations in those schools, bring in more independent people, because it seems that the people that we trusted to administer the examinations in those schools have really disappointed us. So we'll now bring other additional people from different parts of the country to make sure that we run a clean examinations.
When can we expect the results from the investigation?
End March.
End March. Mr. Mhlanga, thank you so much for your time and joining us here on AM News. That was the National Spokesperson for the Department of Education, Elijah Mhlanga.